Welcome into the show. It's a Victory Monday right here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr., and no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day as the Niners are hurtling into Week 5 at 4-0. The only two teams still undefeated throughout the first month, Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. And coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about all of the latest San Francisco 49ers news, observations following another dominant win, this time at the hands of the Arizona Cardinals. A lot of people thought that Arizona was going to be able to go into Levi's following a big win over the Dallas Cowboys and prove to be a difficult test for San Francisco. Niners cover the spread, once again score more than 30 points, and they were very impressive in that outing. And because the Niners are 4-0, that has to get you pumped up. And if the juices are flowing, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Let's get it underway with my observations as we had some time to let this victory marinate. And really, I want to begin with Christian McCaffrey because what he's doing right now is so special. And what he's done ever since he threw on a Niner uniform after getting traded from Carolina to San Francisco has been magical. Outside of quarterbacks in the league, he might be the most valuable and most skilled player in the league right now. And as far as the MVP race goes throughout the first month of the season, I think two Niners belong entrenched on that list. Brock Purdy as well as Christian McCaffrey. On the heels of him winning NFC Offensive Player of the Month for September, he kicks off October with a bang. 20 carries, 106 yards, 7 catches, 71 yards, 4 total touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, Raheem Mostert, the only players in franchise history to score 4 touchdowns in one game. It's the first time a Niner has been able to do that since Mostert did it in the NFC Championship game against the Green Bay Packers in 2019 when Levi's was going wild because Raheem Mostert was running crazy. And the impact of CMC, ever since the Niners made that acquisition for him in that trade with the Carolina Panthers, it's been paramount, and it's been incredible because of what San Francisco has been able to do as a team with McCaffrey on it, but what McCaffrey has been able to do as an individual player. This is pretty nuts here. The Niners are 16-1 since McCaffrey became the starter in Week 8 of last year. That includes 2 playoff wins against Seattle and Dallas and that 1 loss in the NFC Championship game. Who knows what would have happened if Brock Purdy did not get injured. San Francisco has also scored 30-plus points in 7 straight games. They've scored 30-plus in 4 games to start a season for the first time in franchise history. And since Week 8 of last year, led by McCaffrey and his versatile game, the Niners have averaged 30 points per outing. This guy is special. What he's doing right now has to be recognized and noticed. The real ones know. And as long as he's on the field, this offense is going to continue to be one of the most explosive in the history of the NFL. And that was one of my bold predictions going into 2023. That with McCaffrey, Aiyuk, who we'll talk about, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel. If Deebo was able to return to that all-pro form that we saw in 2021, look out. This Niners team could set some franchise records. Now let's segue to Brock Purdy. Yesterday against Arizona, was that Brock Purdy's best game as a quarterback in the National Football League? I think it was. Certainly from an efficiency standpoint, 20 of 21. Only 1 incompletion on the afternoon. He throws for 280 through the air. 2 total touchdowns. 1 to McCaffrey through the air. Then that quarterback sneak. Yards per completion, 13.5. He was a big play every time he let it loose. And his rating, 134.6. Per next-gen stats, Purdy's completion percentage over expected against the Cardinals, plus 28%. That is the highest mark by a quarterback with at least 20 pass attempts in a game over the last 7+ seasons. And I tweeted this out. Some nitwit responded and said, well, when all you do is be check down Charlie, of course you're going to have a really efficient game. Let me step aside and let the numbers do the talking. Because Purdy, 20 of 21, 283, a touchdown through the air, the plus 28%, a great mark. But look at the spray chart here. Look at the 1 incompletion down the left hash. All of those other green dots, they're completions. And really, I think that this is the most important and the most impressive that Brock Purdy has been, important because of what I'm about to say, the long ball element that's been added to this Niners offense. Purdy on throws of 10 to 40 yards was a perfect 7 of 7. And both of these deep shots here to Brandon Aiyuk, both on really good plays, as Aiyuk also had a tremendous game. But look at where the completions are. Short, intermediate, long, sideline to sideline, down the seams, down the numbers. Kyle Shanahan, of course, doing a great job with the play designs, but Purdy deserves credit as well because Purdy is the one who's making the throws, and that blue dot actually is the touchdown that he threw to Christian McCaffrey. Either way, one incompletion on the afternoon. And you look at the NFL QBR leaders through 4 weeks. Look, it's not just that the Niners have a stacked roster. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaches in the NFL on the offensive side of the ball. Purdy is passing the eye test, and he's playing big boy football, high-level quarterbacking at that position. Number one in QBR, 84.5, ahead of Tua Tagovailoa as the Miami Dolphins got beat for the first time yesterday by the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen at number 3, Patrick Mahomes at number 4, Geno Smith going into Monday Night Football in at number 5. Look at the quarterbacks who Purdy is beating here. And he's leading Mahomes in QBR by 13 points. And since Purdy became starter in Week 14 of last year, replacing Jimmy Garoppolo, here's where he ranks among all quarterbacks in the National Football League. Passer rating first, touchdown passes second, yards per attempt number 2. Now, while what Purdy has done so far through 4 weeks has been head-turning and eye-opening, we'll see what he could do against one of the league's best defenses in the Dallas Cowboys, maybe the NFL's best defense. Statistically, the Cowboys have been great. They haven't gone up against a team like the Niners, so what's going to give? If Purdy goes out, though, and he thrashes and gashes Dallas, a lot of people are going to take note across the NFL that this guy is for real. And I tweeted this out a little bit earlier as well. With how Purdy is playing right now in this current moment, he's playing like a top 5 quarterback. Because if you look at some of the top quarterbacks, like Mahomes is balling, Josh Allen is balling, Tua Tagovailoa has played great. Joe Burrow is really struggling, though, because of that calf injury. Jalen Hurts is playing really well. You could throw him into the mix as well. But how he's playing right now through 4 weeks, if you're judging quarterbacks just solely based upon how they played the first month, Purdy is playing like a top 5 guy. No, I do want to put you to the test with today's poll question. Who has been the MVP for the Niners offense so far? Is it Purdy, type BP, or is it Christian McCaffrey, CMC? I'm fascinated to see where you all stand on this. I put this poll question up on the community tab on our YouTube page, so make sure you get your votes in there as well if you do so, please. Make sure you also get your picks in with Prize Picks, especially when I tell you about the deal that Prize Picks has to offer for the faithful, up to a $100 deposit match at prizepicks.com/CLNS. The largest independently run daily fantasy sports app in North America. This is the go-to app and the only app that you should be using when it comes down to daily fantasy options. You pick 2+ players. You choose more or less on their projected stat line. I went 2 of 3 for my picks for the Niners against Arizona. Brandon Aiyuk, more than 50.5 receiving yards. Javon Hargrave, more than 0.25 sacks. Nick Bosa didn't give me a sack to pull off that trifecta, but I'm back at it again going into Monday Night Football. And you have a matchup here between Seattle in the NFC West and the Giants, the team who the Niners 2 weeks ago did beat. I like more for Bobby Wagner total tackles at 7.5. I like more for Jackson Smith and Jigba on his total receiving yards. And then I like more than 4.5 for the total receptions for Darren Waller. Barely was involved against the Niners. For the Giants, I think they feed him a lot. So it's daily fantasy made easy. I've already won 25 times my money this football season. I don't know what took me so long. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. I promise you, game days will be better if you get involved with Prize Picks, and there's no better deal out there. $100 deposit match. Let's continue to move forward here. And I want to talk about the Niners' defensive side of the football. Their pass rush brought it once again. And in going up against Arizona, the previous 3 teams that faced the Cardinals, Josh Dobbs was able to have some success throwing it, running it. the San Francisco 49ers defensive line really does have an opportunity and has the ability to just overtake games and then wear you down throughout the course of 60 minutes. And that's why I like teams like San Francisco. That's why I like teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, because they're so built up in the trenches where they can impose their will and really just dominate you physically and mentally throughout the course of an entire football game. The Niners' pressures against Arizona, they brought it once again. Kerry Hyder and Kevin Givens also added to the pressure list as well. Nick Bosa did not have a sack. He only has one through the first 4 weeks, but he's been his normal dominant self. He's faced the most double teams in the NFL. 5 pressures yesterday against Arizona. Javon Hargrave did have that sack that I talked about. He had 4 pressures. Javon Kinlaw continues to play great, like one of the best defensive tackles in the game this year. Contract year, yes, but you'll take the production because it benefits San Francisco. He had 2. Drake Jackson has been held in check as far as sacks go ever since week 1 when he had the hat trick against Pittsburgh, but he's really had a good second year. And then Eric Armstead continues to be criminally underrated. 2 pressures against Arizona as well. We also have to pay notice to the Niners' offensive line. This was the biggest question mark going into the 2023 season for San Francisco, no doubt. And this Arizona defense under Jonathan Gannon, who was the DC for Philadelphia, and the Eagles' defensive line really manhandled the Niners in that NFC Championship game. They had been good prior to yesterday. Yesterday, though, the Niners' offensive line won the day. They only gave up 3 combined quarterback pressures. And if they're able to continue to provide Brock Purdy with a clean pocket and protect him where the pocket isn't muddy, he can step up, make a throw, make some improvisational plays out of structure. That is tremendous news because it only makes your offense better. Spencer Burford, 1 pressure given up. Trent Williams, only 1. Colton McKivitz, only 1. Again, 3 total quarterback pressures given up by this Niners offensive line. Again, a big test awaits against the Dallas Cowboys, who do have a much better defensive line as compared to Arizona. Lastly, how about Brandon Aiyuk once again? He missed week 3 against the New York Giants, but every time that he's been on the field this year, every game, and every time he's been healthy this year, he's put up a massive number in that individual game. Against Arizona, once again, targets and receptions the same, just like it was week 1 against Pittsburgh. That's hard to do, and it means that he's catching everything that's going his way. 6 targets, 6 catches, 148 yards. It's a career high in receiving yards for Aiyuk. Kyle Shanahan noticed that in the locker room after the game and acknowledged it. Yards per catch, 24.7. A couple of deep shots from Brock Purdy on those accurate long balls, and I'm telling you, you add a long ball to this offense, how do you defend San Francisco? With their run game, sideline to sideline creativity, picking up yards after the catch, and then the explosive element as well. And look at these numbers here for Aiyuk. This year, 3 games, 20 targets, 17 receptions, 0 drops for Let's Go Brandon, 2 touchdowns, and 320 total yards. He has been one of the highest graded wide receivers according to Pro Football Focus, and he was the highest graded Niners player yesterday on either side of the ball against the Arizona Cardinals. Speaking of that game against Arizona, thanks to everybody who tuned in all throughout the afternoon. We continue to set records and blow a lot of people away with what we've been able to do on the San Francisco 49ers Report over the last month. 1.5 million views, 7,000 new subscribers. We're the Steve Young thousands subscribers away from getting that plaque from YouTube. 8K away, 87,000 views for our Niners Cardinals watch party. Appreciate all the real ones for hopping on board, joining the program. And if you want to interact with me on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on Instagram, I always put out my thoughts, my tweets, videos from the show, my takeaways on the Niners there. So give me a follow. Don't be a stranger and say what's up.